This is the Unit 2 test remediation video. We will go over the 3 most missed questions in the Unit 2 test. So question 5 was from the passage called Out of Place. And our question is, a theme in this story is that sometimes people are not always what they appear to be. Which statement develops this theme? So we have A, Michelle wears a football jersey and jeans to her internship at the nursing home. B, Erkin immigrated to the United States and grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania. C, Erkin brightens into a smile when Michelle enters his room. So our theme is that sometimes people are not always what they appear to be. So basically, another way to put this theme is don't judge a book by its cover, right? Don't judge a book by its cover. Sometimes people are not always what they appear to be. So which statement develops this theme? Well, A is our correct answer. Michelle wears a football jersey and jeans to her internship at the nursing home. If we look at the text, it says, wearing a Pittsburgh Steelers sweatshirt and jeans with dark curls pushed back in a hair clip, Michelle stood out from the crowd of nurses and caregivers in white pants and polo shirts who were standing huddled in the doorway of Erkin's room. So, she is wearing a Pittsburgh Steelers sweatshirt and jeans, right? So she's wearing a football jersey and jeans. She's internship. She's at her internship at the nursing home, so she's not working there. She is helping out. And it's saying the crowd of nurses and caregivers are wearing white pants and polo shirts. Okay. So the nurses and caregivers are wearing white pants and polo shirts, while Michelle is dressing very different than all the other staff. And it says, Michelle stood out from the crowd. Michelle stood out from the crowd. Okay. So people are not always what they appear to be. Sometimes people are not always what they appear to be is our theme. This statement here, that she dresses very different than all the other staff, but as we know from reading the story, that even though she looks very different than all the other staff, she's actually the one that helps Erkin the most, right? So don't judge a book by its cover, or sometimes people are not always what they appear to be. She might not appear to be a really great worker at the nursing home, but she is, okay? So even though she wears a football jersey and jeans to her internship at the nursing home, so she might not look helpful, she actually is very helpful. Okay. For B, this information doesn't support the given theme. It might show a different theme, though. And again, C, the same thing. This quote doesn't support the given theme, that sometimes people are not always what they appear to be. However, it could show a different theme for the story. Okay, so that's question 5. Then we have question 6, and this is also taken from the passage Out of Place. So our question, we have, which sentence develops the idea that Michelle is learning to understand how other people feel? So another way to say learning to understand how other people feel is a word a word called empathy. Okay, so the word empathy is learning to understand how other people feel. And there's a common phrase for this, for learning to understand how other people feel. It's called, sorry, I'm trying to, sorry about that. So, the saying is walk a mile in another person's shoes. So if you've ever heard that saying before, walk a mile in another person's shoes, that is empathy. That is learning to understand how other people feel. And that's seeing things from others' perspectives and thinking about their point of view. Okay, all of that has to do with empathy, the concept of empathy. So which sentence develops the idea that Michelle is learning to understand how other people feel? We have A, at first she wanted to intern at her dad's gas station, but her teacher told her she needed to branch out and sign Michelle up at the Outcourt nursing home only 15 minutes away from her house. B, still Michelle had been curious and she felt sorry that Erkin had a bad reputation among the staff. C, so she decided that the next time she brought supplies to his room, instead of avoiding Erkin, she would play along with whatever he said. So the correct answer is B. We have still, Michelle had been curious and she felt sorry that Erkin had a bad reputation among the staff. So let's look at the text that talks about this. Still, Michelle had been curious. And she felt sorry that Erkin had a bad reputation among the staff. She too had felt like everyone mistrusted her, especially at the nursing home where she was so much younger than the rest of the staff, so she understood how he must feel. Besides, he was the only person in the whole place with skin nearly as dark as hers. So not only is she learning to feel empathy for him, she looks like him, and so she can share a common appearance, right? She's younger than the rest of the staff. She is has the dark skin, right? And it says she too had felt like everyone mistrusted her. So she's talking about a common experience of mistrust that her and Erkin share. Right? And she's saying she understood how he must feel. Well, that goes along with the idea that Michelle is learning to understand how other people feel. Right? She understood how he must feel. That concept of empathy goes along with this sentence here. Still, Michelle had been curious and she felt sorry that Erkin had a bad reputation among the staff. And so this quote shows that she is learning to feel empathy for him. Both characters share common experiences like the mistrust and common appearance like dark skin and being young. So Michelle can personally relate to Erkin in a few ways, and so she starts to understand how he must be feeling, right? Walking a mile in another person's shoes, she's starting to see things from others' perspectives and thinking about his point of view. So if we look at the other answer choices here, A, this information doesn't have anything to do with empathy. Okay, it does show that she is expanding her life and career experiences, but it's not necessarily her learning to understand how other people feel. For C, this quote, again, doesn't deal with the concept of empathy. It does show that she is getting comfortable with Erkin and learning how to deal with him, but it's not directly related to her learning to understand how other people feel. Okay. So that's question 6. Question 16 goes along with the story August Heat. The question is, how does Mr. Atkinson develop over the course of the story? So the word develop here is talking about change. How is the character changing over the course of the story? And over the course of the story is talking about from the beginning to the middle to the end. Maybe Mr. Atkinson is one way in the beginning of the story and then changes in some way by the end of the story. Right? So how does he develop or change over the course of the story? We have A, he is content with himself and his appearance until he sees the picture James drew of him and becomes self-conscious. B, he is a talkative stonemason who takes pride in his work but remains silent as he struggles to repair a table leg. C, he is friendly and kind to James but transforms into a menacing man sharpening his chisel in the stifling hot attic. So this is A and C do talk about a change. First, he's content with himself and his appearance until that signifies some kind of shift there. Until he sees the picture James drew of him and becomes self-conscious. Now, that does show a change in character. However, this is just not true. This doesn't happen in the story. He doesn't become self-conscious of his appearance anytime in the text. Okay, so we can automatically get rid of that one because it just doesn't happen. It's not true. So C does show the change or shift. This word transforms. Okay, the word transforms means change or shift in some kind of way. So he's friendly and kind to James, but transforms into a menacing man sharpening his chisel in the stifling hot attic. And so it does show the change or shift in personality for the character. He starts out as a kind, friendly man, and then turns into this crazy, insane murderer. Okay. We assume he's a murderer, right? We can infer that from the story. So B, he is a talkative stonemason who takes pride in his work. That's true. But remains silent as he struggles to repair a table leg. Well, he doesn't remain silent, necessarily. He continues to be talkative up until the end of the story. And he's not struggling to repair a table leg. That information just isn't true from the story. That just doesn't happen in the text. He is sharpening a chisel at the end of the story. But he's not struggling to repair a table leg anywhere in the plot. So we can get rid of A and B just because that's false information. It just doesn't happen in the story. Okay. But let's look at the text to see where the change does happen and how it happens. So in the beginning of the story, the text says, he greeted me smiling as if we were old friends and shook my hand. That's very kind and friendly. Then in the middle of the story, come inside and have some supper, said Mr. Atkinson. Again, staying, kind, friendly. It's very nice. However, at the end of the story, we do see that shift, that transformation, that change. He develops into a menacing man sharpening his chisel in the stifling hot attic. So in the end, the story says, We are sitting now in a long, low room beneath the eaves. Atkinson has sent his wife to bed. He himself is busy sharpening some tools at a little oil stone, smoking one of my cigars the while. The air seems charged with thunder. I am writing this at a shaky table before the open window. The leg is cracked, and Atkinson, who seems a handyman with his tools, is going to mend it as soon as he has finished putting an edge on his chisel. Now, we don't know if he ever does repair that table leg, because it doesn't tell us that he repairs that table leg, right? It says he's going to, right? But we don't get to that part of the story where it doesn't give us that information in the story. It ends before that actually happens. So to say he struggled to repair a table leg we are not given that information. Okay. It is after 11 now. I shall be gone in less than an hour, but the heat is stifling. It is enough to send a man mad. And here we can infer that Atkinson probably kills the narrator here. Okay. And so here we see the change, the shift in character, in personality, from a friendly and kind man being very nice to the narrator, and then he turns into this crazy, menacing man sharpening a chisel, right? Possibly insane. So that's where we get our answer for that question. So that's question 16. If you have any further questions about these 3 answers on the test, you can communicate that with your teacher. You should retake the Unit 2 test for a better score. Good luck.